I've got a listener question that I think will be fun to talk about. The question is, how do you assess a handgun's mechanical accuracy for your match and practical shooting needs? He's only shot one specific model, seems to get the job done. In USPSA, curious what would make me say a gun is very accurate versus accurate enough. Asks him, is excited to try this different pistol. He often hears they're very accurate, wondering what's a meaningful way to demonstrate that aside from group shooting from a rest at 25 yards or something. Very good question. Very interesting, I think. So, I'll just say a few things that some people may not appreciate. First off, I work on the premise that any gun is more accurate than I am. Normally, that's a pretty safe bet. However, there are times where the gun that is not the case. For example, I recently had to send in a Ruger 2245 Light because I was shooting offhand, but at 15 or 20 yards, the gun, a 22 caliber pistol, would not hold a paper plate. It was all over the target. It's like you look at the barrel, like, yep, there's a ring in the barrel. Something's wrong with this thing. It's got to go back. So there are times where the gun is not as accurate as you are, but for the most part, most modern pistols that you buy, as long as they're not defective, they're going to be more accurate out of the box than what you are. That's just the way I operate. That's my first assumption. When people say a gun's really accurate, I normally take that as I'm able to shoot it really well. Normally that means a lighter trigger or a trigger they like, the frame fits their hand well, a sight they like, or good iron sights. So when they say, yeah, like, oh yeah, this gun's really accurate, what that really means is I'm able to shoot this gun really well, is the way I take that from most people. When I get a new pistol, I don't really even do any specific accuracy testing. I'll just shoot for pistols, whatever I've got. Normally, like I'll have some of my own reloads, just 124 grain Blazer or Blazer Brass or PMC ammo is what I normally shoot. And maybe it's 115, whatever I have. And I'll just shoot the gun a little bit to make sure, normally more worried about it being reliable, just getting the gun zeroed as best I can. During that zeroing process, just seeing, am I able to stack shots? Is there anything super goofy? My zeroing process, just briefly, at around 10 yards or so, I'll worry mainly about the windage, so from left to right. The elevation up and down will get close, but really want to just stack shots right on top of each other at 10 yards or so, the best I can. Normally I just do this offhand, but if there's a question or I'm not sure about something or too much caffeine or you're not confident in your ability, then you could use a table, of course. But normally at that point, any modern gun, with very few exceptions, will be just stacking them all in something you can cover with a quarter, like a change, not an actual quarter of an inch, but currency. So you could just put a quarter on it. It's like, yep, it'd disappear. So totally fine. Then I move back to distance, 25 or so, check it from there just to make sure, to get mainly worried about elevation at that point. Because if windage is off just a little bit one way or the other, I'm like, yep, that was probably me. Get the elevation dialed in, and I kind of call it zeroed. Then, of course, throughout just shooting, I might pick up a gun to make sure it's working okay with that ammunition, or if I haven't shot it for a while, make sure it's zeroed, or that I zeroed it right the last time I was done with it, or with that ammo, for whatever reason. That would be normally at probably 15 yards. If I could just shoot a little clump, something you cover with a 50-cent piece, call that good enough. At 25 yards at distance, yeah, the group's going to open up, and I don't even have a way to, like, I don't measure them at all. It would have to be something, well, at 25 yards, I'm looking at more of a pattern. So I'd love to shoot a fist-sized group at 25 yards. That'd be great. But sometimes, maybe it's got really blocky iron sights. Well, for example, this Walther PDP, it's got a dot on it, but the factory sights that come on it are pretty blocky. So it's going to be tough to shoot these at distance. Also, depending on the size of the dot you have, this is a 509T, which has a small, maybe 2-minute dot or 2.5. It could be 3. I should pay more attention to this stuff, but I'll call it like 2.5-minute-ish dot. It's small enough I could shoot it at distance very well. But if the dot was 8-minute, a big dot, it might be tough because I can't even find, if I was shooting at a paster or a small little 1 or 2 inch square at distance, the dot itself might be covering up more of the target. So for those kind of tests, it's just tough to do. So for me, it would just be a gut feeling. If I can shoot a fist-sized group with it, or at distances like 25 yards, kind of a pattern. And if one goes way out somewhere that I didn't feel, hey, is there possibly an issue with this gun? Or if bullets, like with a pistol, it doesn't happen as much, but keyhold, they're going in sideways or tumbling, like, yeah, we have a problem, something's wrong here. Otherwise, I think most modern guns are more accurate than we are anyway. So when somebody says this gun's really accurate, they're just saying they can shoot it well. Compare and contrast. This is a 4-inch barrel. This is a 5-inch barrel, both Walther PDPs. I don't think, like, mechanically, one gun's more accurate than the other. This 4-inch gun, I've shot some really good groups with this thing. Just making sure it's zeroed. Just like little clover leaf stuff at, like, I don't know, between 15 and 20 yards. Off a rest, just because I wanted to see what it would do. But, like, this thing's more accurate than I'm going to be. So unless there's an issue with the gun, or it's got like you've shot it a bunch, it's got some lead buildup, or in the barrel, some kind of a problem, then maybe it needs to get sorted through. Otherwise, like the person asking this question, I really don't think there's like a requirement for a gun for me personally, to be so accurate for practical style shooting. As long as you can keep it within 3-inch group, I suppose, 4 inches at 25 yards, that would be plenty good. Most people aren't able to shoot that great of a group. So let's say the gun's capable mechanically of 2 or 3, but most people shoot 5 or 6 just due to how big the sight is, how far away it is, pressing the trigger without influencing the gun. There's so many things that go into that. So I would just be more concerned that the gun's zeroed. It hits where I look, but I'm less concerned about accuracy, because with the exception of that Ruger, I can't think of any other pistol I had that I've ever had to send back or that I thought there was an actual accuracy problem. However, if you're reloading ammunition, maybe there could be a problem where it's too fast, too slow, overall length, not crimped, over crimped. I could see issues with that where you want to validate your ammo you've reloaded is comparing that to the factory to make sure it's up to the standards, because normally factory ammo is going to be more consistent and more accurate. Not always, but some. At least for pistol ammo. It's been my experience, but anyway, that's it. So, too accurate versus accurate enough or not super accurate, I just don't really see it. As long as the gun and the ammunition play well together so they don't tumble or have anything super crazy happen. Anything for a 9mm in the 115, 124, 135, 147 range, for the most part, it's going to be fine. So I would just make sure your gun's zeroed, unless you see something really weird where they're just once in a while going out in left field that you can't explain. I just operate that the gun's better than I am, and that's also a good place to be, because it adds comfort, or what's a better way to say that? Probably confidence in your gear. That I'm not worried about my gear letting me down. It's like, hey, I don't want to let my gear down. The gun is capable of shooting, so I want to do the best I can to deliver the performance that this machine's capable of. So that's what I got for you on how accurate a pistol should be. Let me know if you think I'm out in left field, or if you agree with me. Either way, appreciate you watching. If you want, like, share, subscribe, that kind of junk. Either way, have a good day.